if you bet the Stanford money line or against the spread, you made a lot of money. And I really do believe the referees had an agenda from jump. And I'm going to say they are the main MVPs of this game. I've been around bad referees before. I've been around lazy referees before playing college football. And stuff happens. Like I'm usually even keeled. I know things happen. A play here or there can really turn the game and make you lose the game. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this particular game, Friday night, Colorado versus Stanford, went into double overtime, and the Buffaloes did not come out with a victory. They earned the win. I'm a big believer in earning the win. Like, if you played the best throughout the most of the game, you should win the game. But that doesn't always happen. In this case, it did not always happen. Why didn't it happen? There's a lot of blame to go around. I'm going to go through it in the video, but I cannot overstate it enough. The blame to me is the referees. From jump, they had an agenda. From jump. They could not control the game for scoring wise in the first half, but it really started to show itself over time throughout the game. With football, it's like if you give a team a little momentum, allow them to hang in the game, they can mess around and win a ball game. And that's exactly what happened. And if you don't look at it, if you don't know what you're looking for, you're not going to see it. Here it was an agenda from jump. I have no idea how Travis Hunter got an unsportsmanlike penalty for praying after his touchdown. Somebody's got to explain that to me. I was looking for an explanation. I have not seen it. They also had, questionable penalties on a lot of different things that we can talk about. All right. Now, it just wasn't that. I get it. I'm not an excuse maker. Having 3 or 4 12 men on defense is unacceptable. It really is. That's a failure and lapse on the kids not being focused. That's a failure and lapse for the defensive coordinator and defensive assistants not being focused. Okay, I get it. 29-0. Everybody thought the game was over. I tried to go on live and break down my halftime analysis, and the streaming service basically they were hating on me, and I couldn't get my vocals together on it. But I was just saying, and I was warning them, the game is not over. You have to get the ball. You have to put the game away. You can put the game away with a touchdown in the third quarter. Of course, that didn't happen. Stanford scored, I believe, 29, 26 points or something. We're going to go through that in a second. It was a nightmare third quarter, something that should not have happened, and there's a lot of blame to go around. But I want to start with the referees. But okay, let's get into it. I'm gonna break down pregame, first quarter through the fourth quarter, and the 2 overtimes. The Buffaloes lost in double overtime with a field goal by Stanford and in Folsom Field. Now, pregame was normal. Everybody went there. It's a Friday night game, so I'm sure students got off out of class, and everybody got off and went down to Folsom Field. It was another sellout. I showed you Stanford's home games. Typically, they do not sell out whatsoever. It's a good seat if you want to go to Stanford Stadium. You can sit wherever you want. So I knew they weren't going to travel well. It was all Buffaloes up in there. Okay, only Andrew Luck was the fan for Stanford. That was rooting for them. And credit to Stanford, they just kept playing. And credit to the rest because they were the MVPs. All right, and starting off with this, okay, they kick the ball off. Buffaloes go, they score really quick, they get the ball and they score again. And for the life of me, I don't understand how Travis Hunter gets an unsportsmanlike penalty right there. I've never seen that before. It was an agenda all throughout the game, and I don't know what to say. And to me, it's the selective penalties, especially later on in the game. You could see that the Stanford offensive line could not block when they brought pressure. They couldn't block their linemen. They were holding. You could see it on many different plays, but they weren't pulling the flag. And when the Colorado had the ball and they were throwing it and putting pressure on the defensive backfield for Stanford, they were pulling wide receivers down, and they still didn't see it. It was incredible. But anyway, okay. All right, let's just go to the pregame. Like I said, it was the normal. Everybody was excited that Travis was back. He looked good. Everybody was ecstatic about it. They start the game. It was on defense. Stanford got the ball first. It was a good 3 and out. It was the best defensive start in the last few weeks for sure. You go to Colorado starting off, their drive. It was a great drive. Ended in a 10-yard strike to Xavier Weaver. It was a touchdown, 7-0. To me, it was very, very good in the first half. There was a lot of good done in the first half, including shedeur. You could tell it was not only him thinking that, it was coaching being intentional. At the top of his drop, 3, 5, 7-step drop, it didn't matter what it was. If someone could not block, like if someone beat the block on a tackle or a guard or whatever, he was taking off and running or changing his launch point. He wasn't staying in the same place. And that happens when you are sacked 30 times in the season so far and you lead college football. So that was a big, big change. I was happy to see that. The second drive for Stanford really got shut down by Shiloh. He can hit. They did an end around. He got stopped immediately. He's a sure tackler, and I think he can be a weak side linebacker or a strong safety in the league. Now, they punt after trying to test Travis Hunter deep down the sideline, and it could not convert. That just haunted Colorado later on in the game, but I'm gonna get to that. All right, so the second drive for the Buffs, it was a great drive. They showed the stats for shedeur. He had 70 plus yards passing and 50 yards rushing. I think those stats are ideal. Like, if you lead a nation in sacks, he needs to get mobile. And again, I think he's the most dangerous when he's running. He's putting pressure on the defense. So having a 70-50 mix, that was awesome. Alton McCaskill, I wish I would have saw more of him in the game. He's fast. You can get that man the ball. He caught the ball out of the backfield and turned the corner. He looked great. The drive started to stall in the red zone for the second drive, but 3rd and 10, Mr. Clutch, Travis Hunter breaks a major play, set the Stanford defender up, spin cycle, 6 points. First touchdown of the year for Hunter, first touchdown in his FBS career since he transferred. But again, the agenda, why does he have an unsportsmanlike penalty there? All they showed him was on his knees. To me, he was praying he ran to the sideline. I just didn't understand that. So after that, Stanford made some plays and were driving at the end of the first quarter. The first quarter ended for 14-0, which was ideal. All right, the Cardinals reached the red zone, but an illegal formation and sacks forced a field goal, and the kicker blew the kick. It was rare because apparently he's a good kicker. The Buffs take advantage. I definitely feel that shedeur was running the ball a whole lot more. They converted some third downs. Then bang, another Xavier Weaver. I believe it was the end around. I say 20 points, 20-0. The swinging gate finally worked for Colorado. The 2-point conversion was good. Again, if you don't line up right, it's an auto call and they snap the ball. The Buffs get to the boundary, conversion is good. All right, so it's 22-0. But another mind-boggling penalty after that by the refs were insane. It was a big hit on the kickoff. They were treating Colorado like they were the Miami Hurricanes of the 80s. There were more school chaperones than refs at that point. That's what I had in my notes. I could not believe that they cannot celebrate a big hit like that on kickoff. But again, whatever. I liked how the defense used Trevor Woods on defense this game. He spent a lot of snaps at weak side linebacker. He was in the box. He has the speed to chase down the play from the backside and cover backs coming out of the backfield or tight ends and sometimes slot receivers. He's a strong defender. If he ran towards him, it was way less coverage responsibility and he made more plays. I felt the Oregon game, the defensive coaches knew they could not leave him in space like that. But this game, it wasn't on him. Stoudemire was getting beat like a drum. 2-3 was getting beat like a drum. And keep it real, Travis Hunter was getting beat like a drum. He was very rusty throughout the night. Very, very rusty. So I'm going to just skip to the halftime. So at halftime, they got to 29-0. And again, my notes were Travis seemed rusty on defense. He got beat 2 times. They just didn't catch the ball. But at receiver, he looked great. At receiver, he looked fantastic. So I thought going into the game, and especially the first quarter, they started off way more aggressive, way more physical. But the bottom line, the Buffs were talented, more talented at the other positions, but they weren't more talented at the referee spot. So I think that's what Prime wanted. He wanted a dominant performance. And again, that's the best half they turned in weeks. They were way more competitive and basically in the game. All right. And for Stanford, I said they weren't the same Stanford that played Arizona. I didn't understand it. They looked sluggish, and I thought that could happen on a Friday night game. Prime said it's better to be at home when you travel on a short week, and to me it showed at that point. They just weren't into it in the first half. But shit, as soon as the second half started, they were locked in. That was the team I saw that played Arizona to the wire. Okay, I put in my notes they had to put the game away again. They got the ball. They went for it on fourth down. It got sacked. They pissed away the opening drive, and it just, for me, that was the turning point. The Cardinals ran those jet sweeps all night. Finally worked 29-6. They failed the 2-point conversion. They blew that. But penalties. They the Colorados came back. Had too many penalties in that drive, and then they put the ball basically on the 2-yard line, where the Cardinals had to drive 97 yards. And in one play, a receiver broke it. All the Boulder is quiet. It's insanity. It's a 2-point conversion fail, but it's still 29-12. But everybody's like, this is weird. It's another 3 and out by the offense. And again, the offense to me just at the end of the first half, they took the night off. I mean, I just didn't understand that. This is a must-win game. I wrote down 3 and out. What's happening? Touchdown again, 29-19. Travis looked again rusty at corner. There were a bunch of chunk plays, and that chunk play for a touchdown was his man. The offense needed to wake up. I thought it was time for a long drive, but that didn't happen. It was a nightmare third quarter, 29-19. So 19 unscored points, and they went for 2-point conversion. They missed it. It could have been worse. There was 206 yards in the third quarter for Stanford, and the refs kept cashing the Cardinals out. They got the ball again. They were driving. They basically stalled. They were almost out of field goal position. They caught Travis responding to somebody pushing him, and they threw the penalty flag. They saw that. So that just reopened the drive up, 29-26. So that's a 26-point run by the Stanford Cardinals. Again, multiple 12 men on the field, which is unacceptable. That's when you are not locked in as a defensive coordinator, as a defensive staff. Nobody is taking accountability. You have to call a set. You have to have the set that's out there, okay? That's it, all right? I don't understand why there were multiple penalties on that. Anyway, they got a big play to Weaver. He was the player of the game, in my opinion, if Colorado had won. Travis Hunter definitely took a shot, and I think that really affected him. He caught the ball for that touchdown. It was a big play. You come off of a laceration, man. That type of stuff hurts. Colorado had seemed to have woken up, but Stoudemire was getting picked on. They drove the ball right back, 36-33. Again, I thought the refs were really selective on penalties at that point. They were really, really intentionally missing holding penalties. Cardinals got into field goal range, kicked a field goal 36-36, ain't this some shit. I mean, at that point, it was they're in a dogfight. I thought, and by the way, Travis was tired. I thought Travis was tired, and one of the things that really plagued Colorado in the second overtime, really in the fourth quarter, going into the first and the second overtime, they let Travis play man to man. He was tired. The receiver was tired for Stanford. He only played one side of the ball, and I get it. You don't want him to go on Stoudemire's side. He's like, man, I'll take my chance with Travis. But Travis just took a shot to his liver, all right? He's tired. He's trying to be the all-world, and you're leaving him one-on-one with Stanford's best wide receiver. That's a coaching lapse. That is a coaching lapse defensively. I don't like Stoudemire getting picked on. I get it. So now they're going over to Travis' side, and they're throwing on Stanford Cardinals' side. They see that Travis is tired. He's trying to play it off like he's not tired. No, bro, you are tired. We can see that. And this person is winning one-on-one battles with you, and they're okay with it. They're like, cool, we'll just keep throwing it to his side. At that particular moment, I really wish we could have called timeouts at that particular moment. I felt that they let Stanford drive for the game tying overtime field goal with so many timeouts. It was like they pissed away all the timeouts last week, and now they don't want to use them this week. They weren't going to get the ball with enough time. Stanford's too smart for that. They're really smart coaches over there. They're not going to let you get the ball back and have shedeur go Brady mode. If you had 3 timeouts, I would have used 1 or 2 of those because I could see they're tired. I could see it. Everybody could see it. And at that point, I felt like they needed to spell some of the corners. Stoudemire definitely was getting beat like a drum, having him stay in the game. I think at that particular moment, spelling him, putting in some other corners. If you don't want to put Cormani in, that's fine, whoever. But I felt that they were just gassed at that particular moment. They couldn't believe it. They were like, we had the first half off, and now we got to work the second half. All right, so let me just get to overtime real quick. And again, it just pissed me off, the referees, because I know things happen, but it was just really bad. Shout out to Antonio. He came through per usual. I don't know if that was his first catch, but he caught the touchdown in the overtime campaign. At that point, I really wish they would have went for a 2-point conversion. To me, it was an embarrassing outing for the corners, Travis Hunter included. The second one, the guy just made a hell of a catch over Travis. I mean, it was embarrassing. I get it, but he just made a hell of a catch where he pinned the ball to the back of Travis's head and went into the end zone. Again, he's man on man, and Travis is dog tired. I get it. You want to be tough and leave him out there and show people that he's all world and all that other stuff. But football is football. If the Stanford wide receiver is dog tired, Travis had however many snaps, and he took that shot to his back when he caught that touchdown. That man, adrenaline can only do so much. So they tied the score up. Go on to second overtime. Red zone worries, rears its head again. They can't get the ball in, and then it's like 3rd and 2 from the 2 or whatever, 3rd and goal from the 2. Shedeur's trying to hold the ball, trying to make something happen. He throws it to the back of the end zone on the opposing side of the field where the corner has all day to see the ball come towards him. He intercepts the ball. The nerds get the ball and then kick a field goal, and that's it. Ball game. I made it very intentional. I didn't want to see a press conference. I didn't want to see anybody or hear anything that would change my opinion. I didn't want to watch Prime's press conference. I didn't want to watch Shedeur's press conference. To me, this was a must-win game. It was dropped, and I really feel like much of it. Let me just go back. I feel like a lion's share of it could have been avoided, but a lion's share of it kept getting put back into the mix because of the referees. I cannot tell you enough. You see the agenda. It was an agenda going into that game. For whatever reason, they wanted this game to be close, and if you get it close enough, just like in basketball, if it's close, the other team can seize that moment. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I think you look at the penalties in comparison to Stanford. I don't think Stanford had 4 or 5 penalties at the most. Colorado was in double digits. They were undisciplined at times, but the unsportsmanlike penalties, you could see it. And the selective penalties, again, that they didn't throw, you could see it. But again, if the offense is consistent and scores in the third quarter at least, if the defense doesn't give up chunk plays, if the defense doesn't have 12 men on field for 4 or 5 times, if you spell Travis Hunter or you put some help on the outside of him, at that point, because of the game, he is absolutely tired. No matter what he tells you, athlete is going to say he's good when he may not be good. And those are what led to a perfect storm. It was Stanford's biggest comeback in their school's history. They've been around a long ass time and were able to meet y'all at the finish line and get right in front of you. So that's what happened. The Buffaloes are 4-3. They got a bye week, like I said, and they got 5 games left, or whatever the case may be, and they got a gauntlet. That's why this game was critical. And nobody gonna feel sorry for you, bro. You're gonna have to go play UCLA. You're gonna have to go play Oregon State. You're gonna have to go play Washington State. You're gonna have to go play Arizona, and you're gonna have to play Utah. And all of those games are gonna be tough. Every last one of those games is gonna be tough. This was an easy game, and I don't feel apologetic about that. This was an easy game. The first half was an easy game. They forgot you gotta play all 60 minutes. And in some cases, you got to play extra. Heritage Sports.